There's too many of brother, brother, brother. There's far too many of you now. What's up, everybody? This is Bill Foster. How are you? Like Marvin said, what's going on? Listen, we are trying to find out so much that's going on in this world today. First and foremost, I'm your host, Bill Foster of Real Talk Chronicles. My co-host, Allison, will be coming in. Oh, she is right on time. Hello, Allison. I see you coming in. I'm going to bring you in right here. Everybody, Alyson Williams. This is Real Talk with Alyson Williams this evening. How are you, Allison?
Hey, sweetie. How are you guys?
I'm good. Allison, Dr. Corder, Marilyn, Allison.
Hey. Hey, Doc. What's up,
Doc? You know, just to bring you up to both of you up to speed, Allison, you met Marilyn many years ago when you sang at my mother's service.
Aunt Millie, yeah.
Aunt Millie, you was there. She was there, so you might have met each other real quick. But I'm sure it's something that you don't remember. But you gave you sang wonderfully for my mother and Billie Holiday. So I refreshed Marilyn's mental with that.
Yes, I do remember. That was you. Bless your heart. You blessed all the Fosters. I tell you, thank you and thank you.
Yes. So this is Real Talk Chronicles, everybody. And tonight we are talking about the vaccine. Shall you take it? Do you want to take it? What are the do's or the don'ts, the myths, the disclaimers, the omens? There are so many different thought processes dealing with this vaccine. And I think we all want to know what we should do, what we shouldn't do. I don't have the answers. I think a lot of people of color sometimes are afraid of taking this vaccine for reasons from the past, Tuskegee. A lot of people, I think people mixing things up, putting titles on things. But listen, everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. Like it, share it, subscribe to it. If you're on Facebook, share it. Just go to the share button, share from my page, Allison's page, Dr. Corder's page. There are so many people that are chiming in and going to watch tonight. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to it and like the button. So first and foremost, everybody, Dr. Marilyn Corder is my cousin, my first cousin, not 19th cousin. She ain't my sister friend cousin. She is my cousin. I say all that to say that I am blessed that she's like giving us her time and going to share some knowledge with us on what's happening in the world today with this COVID vaccine. What I'm going to have her do right now, because I know she's a world-renowned doctor, but some of you may not know that. And, I can brag about you because let me do what I do, please. You know what I'm saying? So I can say that, but I'm going to let her run down some of her credentials, how long she's been in the medical field, the vast things that she's worked on or still working on, from sports to Flint. So please, everybody, welcome Dr. Marilyn Corder in the building today.
Thank you. Wow. It's been a long, long journey. I have been a physician now for 42 years. I went to Howard College of Medicine, Howard University, in the house, and I did something called pediatrics. That was my specialty. So I see children, newborn till 22, 24, because I also did 2 other specialties. I did 2 more years of something called adolescent medicine, which makes me one of those docs who will see you till you are ready to go out your house, leave your home, and raise your own family. And now I see generations after generation. I'm in my 2nd or 3rd generation of children who I saw their parents as children.
Right.
After I did adolescence, I also did something called genetics. And that's why it's so important today to have this discussion. So I'm also a geneticist. I did 2 years of genetics, and we did genomes, and we did several things there at Howard. Then I went into private practice, joined my husband in pediatrics here in the DMV.
Exactly. When she comes back, like I said, everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. We have a doctor in the house. Ask your questions, please type them in. Alice and I will be going back and forth trying to read whoever has a question, whoever sees the question first. We only have the doctor till 7:55, 7:58. So please, if you have questions, put them in and make sure. So, doctor, you were talking about what you said you did for 2 years.
Right. Oh, I'm sorry, genetics for 2 years.
Tell people what that is, because a lot of times people act like they know, and they be sitting here talking about I know, but they really don't know what genetics are.
Well, it's the study of your genetics, of your genes, not your blue genes, but your genes, what you made of, the DNA, what's hereditary, what's not, what's environmentally as well as genetically affected. And then even with your actual genes, how things that you do and take are affected. We used to have the pregnant parents, moms, and we talk about certain things while the baby is in utero, what's coming down and what it looks like as we did amniocentesis, etc. Now we have come so far that we are now being able to draw blood for so many genetic conditions. So many genetic conditions. That's what's fascinating. Even when we talk about the vaccine, the way this vaccine is made biogenetically is interesting and fascinating. One thing I will say, even as I was having my children, my first child, I went into premature labor with Adrian, and I went into labor. She was 26 weeks. I was like 6 months. So if I had delivered her, she would have been maybe not alive and or just very premature with all the problems of prematurity. So my doctor came to me at the time, Dr. John George, and he gave me a piece of paper. He said, well, right now it looks like it's inevitable you're going to have a premature baby. Or, and he gave me some literature. He said, or I can give you this. It's not approved yet. Make a note. But I can give this to you to stop your labor. That was in 1980. Well, now what the medicine I'm talking about is terbutaline, which has saved scores and scores and thousands of lives in terms of taking a woman who's threatening to have a premature baby to term. I said yes. It wasn't approved. I said yes. And as a result, my child came full term. So I say that sometimes we have to pay attention, even if the science is not what we used to. But if we're talking about saving a life, we need to make sure that we understand that. So going on further, I'm also a fight doc. I do a lot of sports medicine. So I'm a ringside fight doc, meaning I'm the official for the different fights, for Mayweather fights, for the professionals and the amateurs. And I enjoy that because sometimes boxing is what saves lives, especially the young people in impoverished places. And I did say I do radio. I've been on the Oprah show. I've met Oprah a couple of times. She's my buddy. And I've been on Steve Harvey. One of the reasons I was on Steve Harvey was because of Flint. The toxicity, the lead toxicity that the government up there allowed to happen. And a lot of doctors were afraid to go on. They called me and said, well, did I have any fear? I'm like, nope, I would be there. And I did. And I told the truth. Of course, now we know that they're paying the price in terms of folks have been arrested for contaminating, allowing the water in Flint to be contaminated with lead. And when the reason Oprah had me on her show, I did something for one of my patients, and she wanted to see me and meet me because I was on Katie Couric, Iron America, a couple things. And I'm not saying all of this to brag. What I'm saying—
No, I want you to say it to brag because I want to throw down your credentials, because a lot of times there are going to be people out here that will just, I mean, if people are just, if they're pessimists, they're just pessimists. They're not going to do it. They don't believe in things like that. But I say that because a lot of times when you tell people that you have somebody in your family that has credentials, they be like, yeah, okay, So that's why the only reason why I wanted you to run it down, so people can understand that you have a vast knowledge of medicine. So whether they agree at the end of this show or not, it is what it is. So,
I'm now chief of staff at a hospital, the only hospital in Southeast Washington. And I pride myself for being the chief of staff. That means I speak for the physicians, and we have over 300. And it's an African-American hospital, better known as Greater Southeast. And it is where Kamala Harris came to get her vaccine. So we do it right in Southeast DC. And I'm in private practice. So that's enough to be said because we need to get on with the discussion.
Exactly. So first and foremost, we already have one question already. Okay. And Alyson, you and I, we'll come back and forth with these questions, and whenever you have one. But we have a friend from my man Delgado. He says, I have a question. I have a pacemaker for a year. Is it safe for me to get the vaccine?
You know what? Yes, Let me say why, and I'm going to also tell you what else you need to be doing. Thank God you have a pacemaker. So that means that your doctor saw in advance, meaning before you transition, that you needed a pacemaker. So I'm saying that's a good thing. Number two, you have a comorbidity that if you were to get COVID and the clinical symptomatology of COVID, such as COVID pneumonia, et cetera, that pacemaker, your cardiovascular status is one of the risk factors. So the thing I want you to make sure you understand that this vaccine is not going to harm you cardiovascularly. It's going to help your immune system. We're going to talk a little further about that. But you also make sure that even with the vaccine, as I'm also doing, I have hand washing, I have my mask, I have this social distancing. I'm taking immune boost. I'll tell you about that a little later, which has zinc, vitamin D, CBD. I'm super duper protecting me. So again, I'll just say I did take the vaccine. I took
Absolutely.
the Pfizer. I took the Pfizer, the messenger RNA. I'll explain a little bit about what that type of vaccine is. It's not all the way new. It's new to folks who are not in the research field, but it's not new. But they rolled it out rapidly because we now, what is it, 400,000 people have died and over 1 million plus
So she
have
come.
are COVID
She did.
positive. So it's one of those things that we know what the side effects of what COVID-19 would do, especially in the risk factors, the frontliners, as I am.
Okay, awesome. We have some more questions, but I'm going to ask you a question. So, as a woman of color, I know we can talk historically about what people have their omens about, but as a chief of staff, as a medical person, tell me where your checks and balances, were you weighed differently, or did you, were you with it, were you not with it? As a woman of color, were you with it? I mean, medicine is your field, so give us some insight on that. I don't want to keep it too long on that, but I just want to give people some insight on that. Go ahead.
Well, I understand hesitancy. Of course, I know and have even done reports on the Tuskegee experiment. I've also done reports on Henrietta Lacks, which is right down the street here at Johns Hopkins. We have, as a people, have been disproportionately treated in a wrong way, in a bad way, in a racist. Medicine is racist. We get that. Okay. But I'm going to say this disproportionately, we're dying. COVID, I guess COVID-19 is racist because
Right,
it's
right.
killing us twofold. And unfortunately, by the time we get to wherever medical facility, we're in worse shape. We're on the vents, or we already dead. And our conditions of our body, from low vitamin D to excess of ibuprofen to not having enough zinc to having the comorbidities, doesn't allow us to have a fight back.
Right,
So,
right.
as a physician, as chief of staff at a hospital where we have tons and tons of sickness, including COVID-19 now being our number one illness, I'm exposed. I'm in private practice. I'm exposed. There's something called asymptomatic. You can have a person come in to see you who's well as they think, but in a day or two will call you back and say, oh, by the way, I just tested positive. So I've tested negative 4 times and I test all the time. I'm surprised I haven't turned positive. I'm prayerful and thankful, but at the same time, I'm realistic. I have seen colleagues die. Let me explain. People younger than myself, nurses and doctors, they're no longer here. I've seen colleagues suffer from COVID-19 to the point they're disabled. They can't even walk down the hall, let alone up the steps in their homes. I've seen folks throw embolisms. That's your blood clots. After you've had COVID-19 and survived, thank goodness, you still have to make sure that you monitor your health. One thing about what COVID does is this, as it's in your body, the symptoms may be gone, the fever, the cough, the pneumonia, the chills, the fatigue, but it's like, I call it the um, the ghost in your body because it still is there and it can coagulate your blood, meaning you could throw a clot, an aneurysm, which is a blood clot in your head, a pulmonary embolism. And I know of two, actually, we think it's been 3 folks who were positive for COVID, recovered 2 to 3 months later, died from an embolism.
Mm,
So
wow. Wow, that's deep. So Okay, let me go to a question. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. You got Dr. Marilyn Corder, and this is Real Talk with Alyson Williams. Every third Monday of the month, we are here. We getting down to it. We getting real talk. This is it right now. So, Cassandra, what's up, sis? She said, "What are the ingredients in the vaccine?" I have been asking, and no one seems to know. Is there anything that you can elaborate on, Doc?
Well, there's several of them rolling out. The Pfizer has what we call an mRNA. That's what we call your messenger ribosomal nucleic acid. And what it does, if you think of, let's say this, your body has what we call cells, nuclei, and those things. And your body has what I call helper cells and things that are out there, but it's not right in the cell, in the nuclei. And those are your RNA. So there's something called your messenger RNA, which are protein. And what this vaccine does, it actually comes into your body and your immune system as a messenger RNA. And the only way it can get to your immune system is with something called lipids, which is like a lipolytic. It allows it to transfer. It would be like olive oil, okay, to get in. So with that messenger RNA and that carrier, the lipo, it goes into your body's immune system. And when your body sees that, it begins to say, whoa, something's here, and begins to make something called spike protein. Now that's key. You see all these videos now of what COVID looks like, and it looks like a ball with spikes, right? Well, the spike protein is what your body begins to make naturally. And I say naturally without you having COVID. And then your body begins to say, oh no, we can't have this. And then because it mimics it, and then it fights it. So you end up having the immune process developing without getting the active virus. So there are some vaccines that are live. This is not it, that you get the live virus and build your own antibodies. There are some vaccines that are what we call attenuated, which is a term we use where it's not really live, but it's somewhat there. This is not it. I was not going to get COVID in me. But then this is a messenger RNA. And as a geneticist, this, in my opinion, is the best thing that we now have. It is not new. We've used it for Zika and other viruses, as well as with chemotherapy. It then allows your body, if you think of, let's say, football, and you practice it, and you got your defensive line, okay, and your defensive line is lined up. Well, they are seeing what we call the next team trying to approach it, but actually, it's like this is like a preview, and your body's still already lined up, all in defense because it sees it already. That's what this does, and the spike protein, what your body ends up doing is fighting that, and then it dissolves. So now you already have what you didn't have, the live virus, but you have the protection. How long it lasts, I don't know.
God. Yeah. Well, this is wonderful. Let me ask you. We have a question from Diana in the building. She says, "I have lupus, SLE,
Right.
not active and has not been active for 12 years. Praise God. Is it safe for me to get the vaccine?" Of course, before I get the vaccine, I will confer with my physician. Just want your expertise on the particular subject. Thank you.
Excellent. I'm very familiar with lupus, SLE, systemic lupus erythematosus. And that's an autoimmune condition. And an autoimmune condition means that your body has a process that it is what we call inflammation, and it's beginning to attack itself. So because kidneys and a few things, lungs, you're more susceptible to COVID-19 in terms of the immune system. So consult a doctor. But someone who has lupus, who has Sjogren's, who has sarcoidosis, who has diabetes, all of that puts you more at risk from recovering. So you want to have already, in my medical opinion, I'm not your doctor, so make sure you check with your doctor, but you want to have that buildup. You want to already be, as I may say, muscled up in your immune system, because I can still get COVID. I can still be positive down the road with COVID. But being that, I already have my soldiers lined up, my immune system ready to fight.
So let me ask you a question. I don't know, Alyson, if you have a question anytime soon, but let me ask you a question, Doc. is this equivalent to like when people take the flu shot? Even though you take the flu shot, you still got to wear a coat or you still got to protect yourself. Because I mean, I know people are taking the vaccine,
Right,
but you still got to wear a mask and
right.
things of this magnitude. So, like, break that down for me, please.
So it's not equivalent to flu because, the strands of the flu, you end up, getting, I call it, some people say I got sick from the flu shot because they gave me a flu, but it was
Yeah.
attenuated. It wasn't really live. This is different. I feel that this is superior from taking the flu shot. So I'm gonna come back to the second part of your question. It really programs your immune system without giving you live or attenuated. It programs specifically for your body to protect itself from COVID. Now, yes, you still need to mask up. Yes, you still need to hand wash. It's not like all of a sudden I got this vaccine and then I can hang out and party and drink for people, etc. No. Well, first you can still get the flu.
Right, right,
But
absolutely,
the flu
absolutely.
season is here. Oh Lord, flu season is here. But as well, you still need to take precautions because guess what? Even if I have the vaccine, and I did, and let's say I come in contact with somebody with COVID. Now, listen to me. And let's say I got it, I became positive. I don't know I'm positive. Guess what? Because I got this defense. I'm like muscled up. I'm not going to have the symptoms. But I'm going to wear my mask not only for me not getting it, but for you, for me not giving it to you.
So like you said, it's basically it's a defense.
Right,
Even if you can catch it,
right,
it's going to prevent
right,
severity. It's some sort of severe things.
right.
Um, I got a question from my man Al Roman in the building. What's up, brother? Doc. He says, first, let me say thank you, and second, as many folks like myself who take medications for diabetic, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. Plus, I had a heart attack in which I had a stent placed in my heart. Is taking the vaccine good for me? I'm glad you off the job, Al. Damn, you know.
Well, let me also say that certain things you should not take. Of course, take what your doctor is telling you, but beware, folks. Don't take ibuprofen. We talk about it all the time, but I think we need to talk about it even more. Ibuprofen attacks your kidneys. And if you have diabetes, that's Advil, that's Motrin, that's ibuprofen, that's Aleve. Let's stop that. It's over the counter, but that's quite dangerous. People are like, well, I'm not going to take the shot, but in their purse they got a big bottle of ibuprofen. That's killing you.
Mhm.
Now, going back to your question, Al, yes, you should consult your doctor and you should be in the level 1B or what we call 2A. I don't know how old you are, but because you have comorbidities, you don't have to be in a nursing home to be able to receive it if you want to. Now, there's some people like, I'm not taking it because I'm afraid of it. I understand, but I'm going to tell you, I'm afraid of COVID. I have seen it take folks out. I needed to have a comeback. Now, if you have an allergic reaction, let me tell you what's contraindicated with this COVID. Do not, first of all, you got to be 18 and above, number one. Number two, you should not have, you cannot take it if you have egg allergy or any allergies. I know some people say, well, severe allergy. Look, if you have allergies, don't take the vaccine. There's one or two coming down the pike with Johnson's and Johnson's and Sanofi Pasteur, a couple more coming, AstraZeneca. But I know with the mRNA, you may have an allergic reaction. We observe you for 20 minutes and you may have, you don't want to take it if you have allergic reaction. Just continue to do everything, zinc, vitamin D, etc., but do not take it.
Wow, that's awesome. Delgado said, she said, thank you so much for answering my question because my husband got the COVID and I did not get it, but I've been taking vitamin B shots.
Yes, yes. Vitamin B and do vitamin D, at least 400 milligrams to 800 milligrams of vitamin D. And call that defense, vitamin D.
Okay. Claudia said, what's up, Claudia? How are you, everybody? Everybody, thank you for chiming in. The
Thank
questions are just popping in here. Claudia said, are there any groups of people that should not take the vaccine?
Well, I talked about the allergic reaction. Um, 18-year-olds and less, so no children. Pregnant women, that's a no-no, and breastfeeding women. Okay, so you got four categories. The young folks, some people say 16, but I say at least 18. Pregnant, no, no, no. breastfeeding, and allergic reactions.
So, can I ask you a question? Why 18 and under? No.
Because with clinical trials that they did do quite a few. I know people like, well, it didn't take 10 years as some vaccines take. And let me tell you why I didn't take that. Number one, people are dying left and right. Number two, with the vaccine trials, you have to go through 4, 5, 6 levels of just politicking. Now, let me keep it real. Politicking and financing. Well, guess what? Everybody needed it. So it crossed all the layers of this politic, this level. The doors were already open because they needed it. And that's why they call it warp speed or whatever they're calling it. But children are never in the clinical trials. And you're still a child till you're 18. So the question you ask, why not children? Many of even the medications that we have over the counter, let alone prescription, we still have a little thing about children taking it. And it's based on kilograms. It's based on how you metabolize. So right now, it's not. COVID does attack children, but the vaccine is not approved, even at the rapid approval. It's not approved for children.
Wow. Okay. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host, Alyson Williams. And here, this is Real Talk with Alyson Williams every third Monday of the month. Alyson, she's giving us some information, isn't she?
She's giving us a whole listen. It's been 30 minutes, and I'm just like I want to chime in, but the questions that are coming in are obviously the questions that I would have as well. If I can, I just want to go back.
Go ahead.
And doctor, before you leave, I have something I want to say to you, but I wanted this information is so just so much more important than anything that I need to say in terms of accolades for you. But I do want to give them before she jumps off, Bill. So keep that in mind as we come to the end of our time with her. I'm going to give this from a point of view when we were first made aware of COVID. The first thing that people of color and the disenfranchised sectors that are hit most hard were given information that said Black people can't catch COVID. And we hear that and then we run with that. And so for a minute, it's hard to turn that around. And then you looked around and like you said, in disappropriate numbers, we were being hit with it, but we were already misinformed and took that. And because we don't have the information, now we're, not doing what we should do. Yes, we are frightful and skeptical of different things that come, especially when we can look around and all of us, whether we're Black, white, green, yellow, or purple, see what the government and the leadership has lacked. So now, of course, we are fearful of taking it. I want to take the question that the person asked, what's in it? And you gave us a clinical breakdown of it. But you have to understand, we're looking on the internet and seeing that, well, there are animal DNA being used in it. So is there pig DNA? Is there rat DNA? Is it? And in science, I'm sure sometimes these things are, there are other things in the things that we take. And so people want to know, is our DNA going to be changed? There's so many conspiracy theories about it. One thing in particular, like you said something like, don't take ibuprofen. Now, this might just be me, but sometimes you'll say ibuprofen, but I don't know that ibuprofen is Aleve, is Motrin, is the clinical name. Right. And Aleve is the thing that I take. I'm a diabetic. I'm just now knowing that I shouldn't take that.
I know.
Do you know what I'm saying? So all of these things are rolling around. When I listen to the television and I hear them say, not to be taken with an NSAID. Well, what is an NSAID? How do I know not to take it? I don't know what an NSAID is. Now, I did know at one point what an NSAID was, and then it fell out of my brain, and now I don't remember anymore. But it's an acronym for something.
And an NSAID is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medication, better known as ibuprofen.
There you go. And once again, goes right back to the thing that I don't take Advil, I take Aleve because it's the thing that works when I need something like that. There are so many questions that you answered. I have friends that had suffered with COVID that unfortunately passed, but I have those that have survived. And just like you were saying, you can't come out of it and think that you don't have to monitor your health.
That's right.
People are telling me that they still have respiratory residual scarring in their lungs from the pneumonia and from that thing that, if you had it really bad, but were lucky enough not to have to go on a ventilator, you are going to have these things going forward. And the supplements, as well as your diet, will have a lot to do with how you build your immune system. And you brought those things up. I have friends that are frontline essential workers, and they had to take the vaccine.
Right.
So in my mind, as John Q. Public or Janetta Q. Public, I'm saying by the time my 59-year-old self has to take it, or it rolls down to where I am, even as a diabetic, when I can get the vaccine, I was saying, well, I'm not sure if I'll take it, but I'm going to wait and see, because I'm going to have time to see what the effects have been.
Right.
Whether it's been just a small reaction, or just my arm hurt, or what were the reactions? But this was what came up in conversation, and I was talking to a group of friends, and they said, "Well, you're gonna take it?" And this, now mind you, these are people that we've been together for years and years, and we done everything that adult grown people can do and should do or not do. We done been past the plate. We done all it. We done done. So the question that came up was, are you going to take it? And the person was, no, I'm not taking it because so-and-so. Now, this is the thing that could save our lives. And we look at hundreds of thousands of people have died. You have taken everything else that you could take. You come for the thing that's going to save your life.
Right.
Think about it.
Right.
And not supposed to take it. You've done everything that you're not supposed to do, but you won't take this.
You've done everything. We done rushed you to the hospital. We done came and got you. You done prayed the prayer that they all pray. Lord, if please just get it, I'll never take it again. I won't ever. And so I'm just saying, I'm speaking for the general public.
Mm-hmm.
You've taken everything else. You're gonna stop at the thing that's supposed to save your life, and because we know so little about it as laymen, not to mention the scientists that are rolling this out, like you said, they rolled it out because they knew that it was necessary. So for me, when it's time for me to take it, I'm gonna go on and take it.
Right. Right.
Because I want to at least be on the side of this could help, or this should help, or keep me from going the other way. If I have to choose between the two, I'm going to go ahead and do it. I only speak for myself, but these are the things that come to me.
So Allie, let me ask you a question. So basically, and then we're going to go back to some of these questions. That was excellent. Break it down. So basically, because what's so funny, there are people out here today that are out here still smoking weed on the corner with each other and sharing the damn the
right.
weed.
And that's what I saw especially in the very beginning, and in our hoods, in our neighborhoods.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? I saw that people, they weren't taking the lockdown. They were hanging out on the stoop in front of the deli and so on and so forth. And still talk about, well, black people can't get it. And then even with a mask, and you are, like you said, passing the joint. You got to be cognizant of what is going on.
Yeah. So listen, we got everybody. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster. My co-host, Alyson Williams. I got my beautiful co-host in the back, my wife, Malika. And we got Dr. Marilyn Corder in the building from the DMV area. Listen, if you like what you hear, subscribe to it. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, share it. Let this word get out. This is Real Talk. This is probably the only time, besides you laying on a table or going to have to see a doctor when you don't want to, that you're going to get this kind of information. So please take advantage of it. We have a plethora of questions. Hopefully the doctor in her leisure time may come back and read some of these questions, and she might type in something. I got a question. Go ahead, Doc.
I wanted to respond to Alyson, and she's right. Many people are mistaken DNA for RNA. Okay. And it is not DNA of anything, a rat, pig, whatever. It's what we call ribosomal, which is a protein, which is the RNA. And then it's a messenger RNA that's what it's called decoding. So your body is decoding as if it has been exposed to COVID, but it's not exposed to COVID. So it comes in and says, okay, This is what COVID looks like, but it's not COVID. Get everything together. And that's why I like it. And it has what we call lipids in it, which are fat particles that gets the messenger RNA in there to say, look at me. And then your body says, oh, heck, this is something that shouldn't be up in here. And it has this, what we call spike protein. It produces that. It does not get into the DNA. It is not DNA changing. It's not going to make you have a horn coming out your head. All right. So the problem is that because my husband's waiting for me to grow a horn. But anyway, the problem is that we were set back where we already in the -10. And then when they told us we wouldn't get it, that was -20 in terms of us being aware and making sure that we began to protect ourselves. So
wouldn't we be in the -30 as a world of people, because we didn't even know it and it was already coming down the pipe. So we didn't know, we weren't told.
Right.
Then we were told something different. Right. Then we were led to believe that we were immune.
Right. And then we're disproportionately in the minus anyway. So
there you have it.
Yeah. So now we have to play catch up, but we got to save Aunt Sally and Uncle Ned and our own butts. I know of some families that 3 out of 4 are dead because they was playing catch up too late. Oh, they got a cold. Oh, I don't want to go to the hospital. Oh, I don't like my doctor. That was critical time. Critical time. We've seen spouses, husband and wives die within 4 hours.
I remember in the height, not to cut you off, Doctor, I remember if people will go back and think in the height of COVID, when they shut us down in March,
right.
And for the longest, you didn't know where to go to get a test. Right. And then finally, the insurances, like you said, it's politics and it's money. They've found a way to come together. And the first place I saw it come together was at your church at Abyssinia, and all the churches in the communities were then opened up to come and let the community come and get the test. Now, of course, obviously the members and the congregations were usually the first people to get the test, but then you could go and stand on the line and get the test. Now, then it was the nose swab, and then it was the draw of the blood and all of that. But how long did it take us to be able to go and get that?
Right.
And then it roll out to Harlem, to Manhattan, to the Bronx, to Brooklyn, to Queens. I watched all of this, and people were dying day by day. You were afraid to see an ambulance go down your block. Please don't stop on my block. Please don't stop on my block, because you knew you had elderly people in your neighborhood. So I'm just saying, we already, like you said, we're playing catch up, but it's important to be aware, get your mind right, and pay attention. And thank you for coming, because a lot of times we, especially as people of color, and any of us who are come into this nation from somewhere else,
right?
We're not trusting, and we're skeptical of what comes to us. When we can hear it from you, who is knowledgeable, and someone who can give us a scientific breakdown of it, as well as knowing what is going on, because you are a woman of color, and so on and so forth, and you have the knowledge. It makes it a lot easier. Not to say that you're going to tell us and all of a sudden, oh, we got the answer, but no, you're going to make it so that we can understand it, and that we can have a comfort zone in order to seek what we need.
Absolutely. Amen on that. I definitely would get with that. Yo, everybody, like I said, this is Real Talk Chronicles. This is where you only going to get this kind of information. Thanks, Dr. Marilyn Corder, for being with us. She ain't going yet. We got her for a few more minutes. I got the time. Listen, my cousin and I, we talked about this earlier. Like I said, who's just chiming in. This is my first cousin. This is blood right here. So I promised her that I'd get her out here at a certain time. So we're going to try to get some of your questions in as much as we can. But this is the one thing that Alyson and I wanted to bring to you, along with Malika and Dr. Corder. We wanted to give you something that you're not going to be able to get any place else, because any other time you may not be able to reach a doctor. So Doris had a question. She said, Bill, ask her, why does it take up to 15 to 20 years to bring some drugs to market, and years later those drugs cause cancer, etc.? But the vaccine that was developed within months is supposed to be safe. I'll read it. You got it? Mm-hmm.
I got it. I understand. And you're right. And you know what? Sometimes it does take 5 years, 10 years. Sometimes it takes 2 years. A lot of it's politics. There are drugs. You'll see them new things in the commercials. And then next thing you know, it'll be a conversation 2 years, 3 years later. And the the commercial will say, if you or your loved one have taken this medication, etc., please call the 1-800-LAW because somebody died, etc. And I'm gonna say this to you. I agree. And in my field, you know, there's tons of prescriptions that are written. We have this big book, bigger than the Bible, of what we call the PDR. Now it's on computer, but it was the PDR is the physician desk reference. Half of it is medication, the other half are the side effects of the medication. Okay, and that was in the pink. And we have to, as a medical student, I wanted to know the side effects because I knew I was going into pediatrics because I did not want to treat grown-ups, but grown-ups had issues anyway. Their livers were old, their hearts was old, and, you know, and they wouldn't do, even my car, they wouldn't do what you told them to do. But a child, that parent is going to give that child ABC or not give as directed. So going back to your question, you're right. Sometimes it takes 5 years, 10 years. Sometimes it takes maybe 2 or 3 years. The messenger RNA has been studied. This vehicle, the way of this vehicle getting to the mRNA has been around for over 10 years. They just haven't put it in a vaccine. When I say that in our type of vaccine, they have done it Zika. They have had vaccines with this, and it has been shown to make a difference in attacking the cancer cells, attacking the virus such as Zika. It's just that we haven't seen it because the big pharma, I'm going to go there. The big pharma has already monopolized all the other vaccines, your DTaP, your HPV, your polio, etc. Now, I don't know if you all are as old as I am. I remember standing in line in school for the polio vaccine. It was a sugar cube. It was a sugar cube. Okay. All right.
Exactly.
Okay. Now it's in your
you got vaccinations on their arm, the four prongs on their arm.
Exactly.
Yep. Remember that?
Right, remember that. Now, we didn't grow horns, but it was all pharmaceutical and people made money. Now, guess what is happening? You can get that vaccine for free. You know that, right? Y'all can walk up. If you at the criteria, it's free. Kamala Harris came to our hospital and got her vaccine right at my little old hospital in Southeast. Okay, so I'm proud to say we know what we're doing over there. So the question, and so yes, so of course people are not going to try, they're not trusting it because they're like, well, you know, it usually takes longer. But I'll say this, I want to be around here longer. Yeah. And COVID ain't taking no time. Take you out.
I want to bring something.
Well, Doc, the bottom line is we want to be around to answer these questions, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I also wanted to bring something up, Doctor.
Alex.
Yes, go ahead, please, Bill. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I thought I didn't hear you. That's why. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I don't know if people often, you know, they ask the question, which is so valid. Why is it that this came out right away? Of course, we saw a need for it right away, but AIDS has been around for a really long time, and there was a need to take care of that before we lost half our family and friends. We've been fighting cancer for the longest and so many other diseases, but now we've got this vaccine immediately. I'm going back to the same question, but this was the thing. I remember one thing that I did see. And I went and I checked it for myself. I don't want to speak out of turn. COVID-19, it has a number to it. Am I correct in what I might have seen that the reason it is called that is because this is not the first strain of COVID. Right. And perhaps they've seen it 19 times, but it was not, those other 18 strains did not do what this did. And if you look on the back of a Lysol can, you'll see of all those thousands of words that we can't pronounce and those 15-syllable words, COVID, so and so and so and so and so, it has another tail onto it, was one of the viruses that Lysol, you know, was effective on.
Right.
It was not the same COVID strain that we're dealing with now.
Right. Exactly. So, and it's similar to SARS, but it's more deadly. And that's why they call it the novel coronavirus. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So what my question or my statement is that when you look at what this virus is and where it comes from, don't think it's new.
Right.
Anymore. And this vaccine that they have, don't think that they haven't been working on things, but they just, well, I won't even say they didn't see it come down the pipe. They just had not rolled it out yet.
That's correct.
So we have to continue to stay conscious and woke and vigilant, you know, to
right
on top, vigilant to stay on top, because here it is.
And the manufacturer,
it's been swirling around the whole time, but now it is now affecting the human system.
Right. And the research, the main researcher for the Moderna mRNA vaccine is a Black woman.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
She went to University of Maryland Medical School, Dr. Corbett, and she went down to North Carolina, Duke, and then she now is at NIH. She's a Black woman. Okay, so she's the head researcher for this process with this vaccine, with the way that it carries into your immune system cells.
We were told that we have to take one shot and then 2 weeks later take another shot.
Right.
Now we're told that there's not they were saying they had a surplus, not a surplus, but a
deficit.
Right, exactly. So that second shot would be available. If the second shot's not available because of all the weirdness that's going on, right, how does that affect the effectiveness of, you got a shot in your arm and now you can't get another one because they said they had a stockpile, but that's not true.
And that is so frustrating. When I heard that they want everybody to get that first, and then it's like, well, 3 weeks later, which is 21 days for Pfizer, 28 days for Moderna. Okay. Wherever you get in your shot, Village, make sure they have your second shot. Don't play. Make sure whoever it is, because that's how we did. I got my first shot, and then when I got my first shot, the appointment was made, and that vaccine was going to be reserved for Marilyn McPherson Court.
Okay. So it is through reserving your next shot that you get it. You have
in my institution, right? In my place, we made sure that there was no shortage. We allotted. We knew that the second shot was there before we got the first shot, so that it's complete, because the efficacy is promised 95 to 97% with 2 shots. I don't know. Some people say, well, you get some protection and something is better than nothing. But why get it if you can't get the complete vaccine? Come on.
What I'm saying, if you don't get the second shot, does it render the first shot ineffective?
That's an answer. Who knows? I will say that's the one I can say that I don't know that answer. I know you did the clinical trials for 2.
Okay, so that question is right up there with how long does the effectiveness, you got 1 shot, you got 2 shots, how long am I immune? How long am I protected? We don't know that one either?
I do know this.
Okay.
And that's the question. They are saying perhaps 6 months, not sure, but it all depends on how your immune system works. And I say all of that to say, even when you have COVID, you have what we call antibodies, the natural antibodies, because you got the COVID, and then that set of antibodies, we don't know how long that lasts. So then some people feel, well, I had COVID, I survived, I won't get it again. Yeah, you can. And you still need to do all of the precautions. So the answer of how long, I don't know, but I do know this. I hope my longevity of my antibodies or protection outlast the pandemic. So we're running this race in terms of who knows. But I do know, again, that I'm doing everything I can do to keep my immune system empowered.
Wow, this is awesome. Go ahead.
I have 2 more questions, Bill, and then I think I'll be satisfied. One is that I hope that we'd be able to know where to go to get a list of those things that you talked about, the vitamin D, the vitamin, the zinc, and so on and so forth, because we need to make that GNC run. We need to go over to CVS and get the supplements. That's one thing that I want to know before we let you go, or before you have to leave us. And the other thing is this, and this is just a question. This is a scenario that happened with myself and a friend. I say right now, as busy as all the hospitals are, I'm just feeling run down. I don't feel well. I don't know what's going on. I've just got to go to the emergency room because I know right now it might not be COVID, but I need to be seen by a doctor.
Yeah.
When you go into any doctor, any emergency room, are they required to say, would you like a COVID test?
Yes.
Have we got that at that place?
Yes.
I have a friend that went to the emergency room and spent obviously the 7, 8, 10 hours sitting in a hallway waiting to be seen, went through triage and the whole thing because the hospitals are overrun, and it's going to take a while. Emergency room takes a while anyway, unless you got shot, but they sat there, and she came home. She felt better. They did a battery of tests, but they never asked her or automatically gave her a COVID test. And I'm trying to figure out What's that?
Let me correct myself. My husband, who's also a physician, he said they may not be required, depending on the region. I know in the DC region, they'll offer, or you can ask, and some of them will say we're going to do it because we're not sure if it's COVID. So what you want to do?
Not that she came in with anything saying she even felt like that. But for me, I'm like, if I went to the hospital tonight and somebody didn't say, would you like a flu shot? Would you like a COVID test? Or we're going to give you one? Or, I just don't get it. And it was in DC. And that's what got me. Because I'm like,
well,
with what we've gone through for the last 10 months, you would think that it would be an automatic. If a person walks in off the street, even if they're not symptomatic for COVID, they need to be tested.
Well, my hospital, we test. Okay. We get the results. So we test. Now, what I will do, Bill, I'm going to give, you can share my email, because what she's asking is a good point. This is the best thing. It's called Oxygen Immune Boost. And it has a little CBD. Don't get scared, y'all. But it has my vitamin D as well as my zinc and acetylcholine and glutathione. So it has all those 4 things that ordinarily would be, wow, you may not even find it because so many people know that's what you need to take. And this is not like a plug. It's just that this is what I know works. So
no, absolutely. Well, you can plug it. This is a family show right now. You can plug this.
All my providers, all my doctors, we taking this because this helps our immune system. And they now just did a CBD. They also just said in Canada and a few studies that even CBD helps protect from COVID.
But I know what vitamin D is, and I know what zinc is. But what are the other 2?
Glutathione, which is an antioxidant, and then CBD. Now, all 4 of those, each of those alone separately helps your immune system, helps fight back. All 4 are in one tablet. So, and it's very inexpensive compared to all what you've been doing. In terms
and that tablet is called, say it again, the name of it?
It's called Immune Boost, and it's made by Oxygen. I will get that information. I'm going to text this information to you, Bill. And then I get it wholesale because I'm a physician, but I will make sure everybody gets it wholesale on this.
That's what's up. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host, Alyson Williams, and my lovely co-host over here, my wife, Malika Forster, in the building. We got Dr. Marilyn Corder, my first cousin, one of my loves, the big cousin in the building. We have so many comments, and by accident, I hit this thing, and I lost a lot of the questions. But, Malika has a question. And maybe we'll try to get one more question before we get out of here. Because before you go, you're not going to be mad at me. And maybe everybody, if you put some hearts in this thing and some thumbs up, we can ask the doctor to come back. Maybe she'll bring her husband, my other cousin Fred, and they'll go back and forth. But maybe not, or maybe we'll get them separately and let them talk. That's a joke before y'all even came in and knew what we were asking about. But that's like, look at all the hearts and the thumbs. Exactly. If you want the doctor to come back, I'll ask her to come back. But we can't keep her past the time because she ain't gonna get mad at me. Right? So Malika asked a question, and we're gonna read one question. Go ahead.
I was just curious about the side effects. So I see you, Marilyn, with that mess. We definitely need a part 2, 3, and 4 with you. But a lot of people are curious about the side effects from the vaccine.
Absolutely. So it hurts. Okay, so you're gonna get a little tenderness. All right. That's for sure. I just feel them. I just put my Band-Aid off. I did my second shot a few days ago. It's a little tenderness because it's in your muscle. It's called IM, in your muscle. And it may be tender for a day or 2. The next day I didn't have a fever, but I had like a slight headache and I got tired. And you know what? I needed to know that it was working. It wasn't a placebo. In other words, what that was doing, that messenger RNA was doing this little thing, was in the what we call the lipid, going into my cells, and my cells are like, whoa, what is this? Producing those spike proteins. I needed to know. And I was happy, and this may sound silly, but I was having some side effects. All right. In terms of the tiredness, a little bit of a headache, because I'm like, my body is responding the way it should. Day 3, day 4, I was fine. Didn't miss a day. Even at my hospital, we were doing 60 to 70 a day. One day we did 130, and these are on staff, the nurses, the transportation, the doctors, the PAs, the nurse practitioners, everyone still stayed at work the next day. So no one had to call out, which is we did our own study. When I say our own study, we're the only hospital in DC, the first hospital that completed the Pfizer on time, no wasted. Everybody came back and everybody was empowered, and all so far have been well. We started it 6 weeks ago. I took mine 4 weeks ago, and I took the second one just this past week. So I guess, I'm the study. I'm the guinea pig. I had to take one for the team, as I said. Okay.
Yeah, you definitely put that in the family chat that you did take one for the team. Listen, we have so many questions because I have to hit you from the cuz point now. Everybody is asking you to come back. Okay. So if you commit one day in the future that you can come back, we really appreciate it. If my other cousin is out the doghouse, he can come back if you wanted to. If not, it's okay. So
yes.
There he is. Everybody, that's my other cousin, Fred Corder. He is a physician too. He's a world-renowned physician. I mean, it's a beautiful thing that you have a house of learned doctors, and we are able to share this information with you. I know right now there's some comments. Everybody out there, if I can, I will try to get these questions to the doctor. Also, she is my Facebook friend, so if she gets chance, I mean, she has a very busy schedule, as you can see. If she gets chance, maybe in her leisure, she can go in and answer some of these questions because she is tagged in this post, so she will be able to see it. Doc, before I let you go, I see you got a Biden hat on. And as conscious as you are, because we keep it like that, this is what we do.
That's
just
right.
give us some take on what you saw at the Capitol and what you're looking for on this Wednesday coming up. Go ahead.
So I'm here. Lord. 3 generations Washingtonian, that's me. And of course, my practice is only 10 minutes from the White House and the Capitol. Wow. Okay. So my city has turned from regular city to a war zone. There are thousands and thousands of tanks and armed guards, etc. Police officer. Well, where were they last Wednesday? But anyway, Wednesday ago. But it is certainly something we need. Now, I was going down to the inaugural, Kamala Harris is my homie. I'm a Link sister with her. I'm a Howardite. We had tickets. Well, we're going to be watching it on TV. I don't think it's fair, but it is what it is. So we finally got the crazy man out of the White House. And he's the first one to get impeached twice. So he could say he made history. Okay. He was impeached more than when he was elected. So it Absolutely. Is what it is. So we're here in DC area, and we're going to make it happen. And we're wearing we're watching it from Zoom, but we're wearing our Biden and Harris supporting all of that.
Exactly. And please be safe, because don't have your cuz come down there. I'm only a couple of hours away right now. You already know I get hot, nauseous start flaring. It'd be on and popping down there. But I know y'all can handle yourself. Listen, everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. We have Dr. Marilyn Corder in the building. My co-host, Alyson Williams. This is Real Talk with Alyson Williams. Alyson and I are not going anywhere. We're going to sit back and we're just going to talk over some of the stuff that the doctor gave us. But I know the doctor has a prior engagement. Everybody, you sent the thumbs up. You sent the hearts. We're asking her to come back. I will ask her sidebar to give us a schedule, and when she can come back, and she will let me know when she can come back. Hopefully we can come back with Alyson, or maybe or before then. But Alyson, if she's not, maybe we'll move her in with Al Taylor or a free Monday, and you can just come back and we could just rock on again. So Marilyn,
Thank you so much for all the information and for the breakdowns. We really needed it, and it gives, not only does it give us information, but it takes that burden off of a little bit of the burden. We're suffering and struggling through all of this, and sometimes it is physically and mentally taking a toll on us that we might not even recognize or know how to deal with. So we are thankful that you can come on and give us shine some light on this, and we thank you so much.
And Alyson and Marilyn, I'll connect you too. Okay, so
absolutely, because I'm going to get a shirt, a mask, and a hat. I don't know. I got to information, but You know, I got plenty of masks. And when this first happened, I was so angry that I said, I'm not going to have any of these. I'm not getting to match my outfits. People were, becoming a part of their whole thing, and they were getting these masks, and they had faces, and I just was, give me a black mask. Just give me a black. And if I go out in the summertime, I might do white if I'm all white. But other than that, I'm not. Then I put on a white mask, and I had so much makeup on it was just nasty.
Right.
So now let me tell you something. I have so many masks because people keep giving them to me like it's something.
I got accessory.
Mask. I got light up mask. I got mask. I'm like, okay, now. I got bubbles. It's way too much. It took on a life of its own, and I was kicking and screaming.
I know.
Not to be a part of it.
Right.
Not to be a part of it.
So,
thank you, Marilyn.
You're welcome, and thank you. And Alyson, I love your songs in the past, girl.
And listen, I got some new stuff. I'm going to send it to you as soon as Bill connects us together. I will gift it to you, and I thank you so much.
I have a radio show, so I have to play it on my show.
Well, we can cross-pollinate. I got a radio show too, so we'll do. This is how we do it.
That's right.
This is it. This is real talk. This is all in the family. Let me tell you something. This is the podcast that keeps it real. Cuz, tell them about your radio show where they can hear it every Saturday.
Oh, every Saturday I'm on Radio 1 live, 3 to 4 p.m. It's called Village Talk with Dr. Corder, WOL 1450 AM and 95.9 FM. This is now going on 18 years. Thank you, guys. Be safe.
Thank you. Cuz, I love you. I'll talk to you later on. Fred, I'll see you later. Everybody, we're still here. That was Dr. Corder. She was in the building. She's leaving us now, but Marilyn and Alyson and I are going to stay around a little longer just to talk about it. So, Alyson, everybody, thank you first and foremost. You have so many questions. Hopefully, I can get the doctor to come back and chime in, or like I said, in her leisure, she can do it. What she got to do, and reply to some of these questions. These are phenomenal questions. I'm not going to read them because I can't answer them. Alyson can't answer them. We can just talk about them. I see my friend Shirley in the building. Shirley, you let me know if you ever feel comfortable enough to come on. You are a doctor too. You may have some insight in this. I appreciate you chiming in, saying that you enjoyed the show. Thank you so much. But listen, people of color, just people general, not even just a color, no disrespect to any other nationalities out there, but we need answers, right, Alyson? And this is the craziest thing about right now. Doctor was trying to lay it down for us and give us some insight. There are people out here that are still skeptical about this, but what are we going to do? Like, it's almost like you kind of not got to take it, but, to feel good about yourself, take it. What do you think, Allie?
It goes back to exactly that conversation I was having leisurely with friends, and everybody was saying, well, I don't know if I'm going to take it. I'm not taking it. You took everything else? What? We got to figure this out. If you have another, the thing is, and I guess it's just the way it is, the fact that we have to wait in line until it is rolled out, and so that the people who need it most, or the people who are exposed most, they must get it. Our elderly have to get it, and so on and so forth. It'll give us a chance to, if we're paying attention, make conscious decisions based on what you feel. But it's what's the alternative? We've lost people. I remember in the height of COVID, Bill, I had funerals scheduled weeks in advance because, obviously it was difficult to, we couldn't mourn our dead. We couldn't bury our dead. We couldn't, some people people couldn't claim their bodies. And so this was an ongoing thing. We were losing people that we didn't know, 700 people a night. This, it would just go on and on and on. So if you don't want to see that kind of a repeat of that, then we almost have to say, I got to make a decision here.
Yeah. I mean, it's
that I can tell you is none of us are going to get out of it alive. So let's figure that out. But I don't think we need to figure out how to go any sooner than than we're called. And it's a very, very difficult situation, along with all of the other unrest unrestful situations that are going on, not just the pandemic, but our governmental leadership and racial inequality. All of these things on top of it. Are you kidding?
Yeah,
Really
righteous.
to deal with. And so I don't know, Bill. I guess everyone has to make a decision based on the information that's given. I watched on the news 2 different times. One with a young Black man. He was young too. I mean, like in his early 20s, and another white man. And they had been interviewed by the local news in their town or wherever they were. And the man was saying, he's on a ventilator. He's like, please. And he sounded so, it just gave you a pain to listen to him. He was like, I thought it was just the flu. I really didn't believe in COVID. I didn't believe that what everybody was saying. And now look at me. He said, don't be me. Wear your mask. He said, all I had to do was wear a mask and put some hand sanitizer on my hand and wash my hands. That's all I had to do. But I really just didn't believe that it was real. I didn't believe that it could hit me. And now look at me. And he was wheezing and it was heart-wrenching, because he really, by the time he got the wake-up call, it was too late. Now, I don't know what the outcome was with him. I hope they were able to, to restore his health. But to watch that man,
it's so funny.
15 or 20, he was like, yo, 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 yo. You know what I'm saying? He's a young kid, but he caught it and saw death at his door.
Allie, like we don't know. I'm just going to read some of the questions, and I'm going to try to make sure the doctor can get some of this. I mean, like I said, I'm just reading the questions. Like I said, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I hope if you all like this show right here today, all the people that was watching, please share it so somebody else can see it. Please, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to it, because you're going to push myself and Alyson to keep doing what we're doing, and Malika to be a vessel of information. Listen, if you don't listen, then we're just giving information to no one. To the air. So I mean, if you all about what we're doing right now, this is Real Talk Chronicles, man. Let somebody know about it, because you can share all kind of other stuff. There's all kind of challenge. I'm going to challenge everybody out there that's listening now. You want to put 50-year-old challenge? You want to put a butt challenge? You want to put this challenge? I'm going to challenge you to put the Real Talk Chronicles challenge. Share Real Talk Chronicles. How about that?
Right.
That's the Real Talk Chronicles. Yeah, right. Tell them, Allie.
TikTok this.
Exactly. Yeah, that's Real Talk. TikTok this. Exactly.
That we need to be spreading. And you know what a powerful tool this box is.
Absolutely.
So use it for the good, to keep people aware, keep people gaining the knowledge so that they can make the right kinds of decisions and share the right kinds of information.
Yeah, because it's just crazy, and I see so many of you chiming in, and I appreciate it. Like I said, I just lost my man Teddy the other day, and I can't even go pay respects to him because he's being cremated, and he's in a plastic bag at the morgue. You know what I'm saying? And this is the dude that I thought was going to be around forever. Like, we're losing so many people, and it's just crazy to me. Like, Sharon, I see you. You said, I haven't heard of some chest pains after the vaccine. We're going to ask the doctor that. Diana, she said, looking forward to the doctor coming back. She is very informative and knowledgeable. Yes, thank you. And I'm so glad that she's my cousin, and I can ask her. I have cousins, that I can ask, that can come back and give back to their communities in the only ways they can. She said, she said, oh my God, it was crazy. Had to come home. Mark, your aunt is 88. She's not willing to take the vaccine, but I'm working with her. Should she? We're going to ask. Thank you, Al Roman. I appreciate you. Thank you for chiming in with me. Colin, I see you, brother. Tawana, awesome. I'm definitely tell her you said thank you. I'm gonna ask her to try to reply to, she's busy from being a chief of staff to having her own practice to being a mother to children and being a grandmother now, and also being a wife, and being my cousin. I think those are a lot of responsibilities in her life. So I will, but we will get her back. I'm going to ask her when is her next available time that she can come back, and then I'll have Alyson definitely. I'm sure Alyson will definitely make and I'm seeing if I can.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. Hey, listen, it's amazing. I just wanted to say this too. I know how proud you feel to know that you have these learned people that have had the opportunities to go and gain their education and gain their knowledge and go on to do great things and are connected with other great people in the world. And I know how you feel being able to say that that's your cousin.
Yes.
I want you to know that you are not alone, Bill. You're not the only person who got fly folks in their family.
But the beautiful thing about it is, just like I can say I got a friend is the first lady at Def Jam. She's a Harlemite.
But guess what? Now I'm proud that I've been able to walk the walk that I've walked. As an R&B artist, I've made my bones. I come from a jazz background. My father was Disney, but I have a cousin that is the first chair French hornist. That means he is the first chair French horn player for the Los Angeles Philharmonic. His name is Robert Watt. So now understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying that jazz and R&B and all the other genres of music that I've been blessed to experience are not worthy. But when you go into classical music, to me, do you know what I'm saying? It's just a whole nother level. And there were only two of us in the family that took on music as our careers. And so my cousin was the first African-American to be hired for the Los Angeles Philharmonic. And when he was hired, he's a little older than I am. I was just a kid. There were no Black people playing classical music in Philharmonic orchestras.
So you know what that means, Alyson? You're going to reach out to your cousin and find out if maybe one day we can interview him.
Oh, you're going to be able to do that. Well, definitely. He's got a book called The Black Horn. I'd love him to come on the show. But in the show, in his book, is all about what that was as for a young man to be one of the first African Americans to be hired to play Philharmonic classical music. And it wasn't like there weren't players around. They weren't having us. They weren't having us. And so the book goes into telling you all of the different idiosyncrasies of what that life was like being a Black man in that world and what have you. So I know what it feels like to know that you have family members that have risen the bar and gone to that other level. So I just wanted to share that with you. I also want to say to the listeners, I come to you the third Monday of every month. So you've already done 2 weeks without me. Happy New Year, everyone. And happy Martin Luther King Day. That's all I want.
Absolutely.
I've been holding that in my mind since 7 o'clock. And it's hard because it's a crowded little place up there. I can forget my name in 45 minutes.
Yo, it is a beautiful thing. Listen, this is Real Talk with Alyson Williams every third Monday of the month. But you know what's so funny? The beautiful thing about like having Allie here, and when you can reach back to somebody that you have a strong relationship with, a sister, brother relationship, a friendship, a bond that I will say will stand the test of time, and ask her, do you want to be a part of this? Because she was there when Real Talk started, from the concept of it wasn't even a concept, it was just a conversation. And like I said, I just said, Allie, let's all get together, the bodies that were in the group, and let's do this once a month. And Alyson travels, she was doing it, but it just seemed like she was able to come for that time. And then as Real Talk evolved, a lot of the originals kind of slipped back, and then when they came back and they saw the new generation of Real Talkers, they were like, yo, this ain't what we used to do. But the bottom line is the evolution. And I think anybody who knows me, and if you really know me, you know how loyal I am. I believe in loyalty. And when this podcast started, I told Malika, I said, yo, I got to reach back to Allie and see if she wants to be a part of this, because she was instrumental in helping me just deal with, because you never get over, but deal with the passing of my mother. And this is all a homage to my mother and putting this forthright. So this is a beautiful thing for me. I always say, promotional wise, this is the hardest thing I've ever done, but it's the most thing that I cherish. When they talk about you have different careers, this is my career right now.
Hey, this is my career. We started Real Talk with a bunch of us at the house. You were going through boxes and envelopes and letters, and I had a broom because I like to clean. So I was cleaning, and we were wiping, and we just began to talk and share and and emote and really open up. And there it was. And here we are. Yeah. And when you said I had to reach back to make sure Allie could be a part of it, I'm still like, I'm still a part of what. You didn't have to ask me. You just had to call me and tell me what time. I never felt like I wasn't a part of it. I was always a part of it. I never left it.
But you know, I said that part of it in lieu of just career-wise, because I know
I know, but I'm just telling you how I felt. It was never a question. It was like, I'm already a part of it, Bill. What are you talking about? What time?
Exactly.
You know.
So it is beautiful. Listen, look at all these questions, Allie. We're gonna have to get the doctor, the good doctor, to talk back, to come back. I will make sure I will talk to her by the weekend, and Malika and you will be the first two besides her to know when she coming back. You know, Marquetta said, yes, Alyson, I was doing the same thing. I thought I was the only one with the mask. My finger hit the angry emoji, but absolutely know what they would want them back on the show. Good show, Bill. Thank you. Tawana, she said a blessed Happy New Year and Happy Martin Luther King Day to you, Alan.
Thank you.
Augustine, you just came on. You came in the house, bro. Well, you missed a good show. Well, at least the beautiful thing about Real Talk Chronicles, you can go back and watch it now. Hey, Nina, I see you. You and your wife are so awesome. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Claudia, it was okay to be okay. Listen, everybody, you got so many questions and comments. Like I said, I have to go back and look at it. Allie, you know, just to catch you up on, just before we get out of here, what do you think about what you saw last Wednesday on my birthday? Let me tell you something. It was historical because it was my birthday, but I didn't want to go down in history for this nonsense. You know what I'm saying? So that means in 2021, January 6th, we had domestic terrorists take over the Capitol and tried to change democracy in the United States of America.
Two things that happened. One, I was living in Detroit at the time, and I woke up. My TV always watches me, and this felt the same on the 6th. I woke up, and there was the TV was playing, and I didn't know what was going on. I thought I was watching a television program, and there was the white Bronco going down the road, and the cops were chasing OJ. And I was like, I start calling people because I work at night, so all of my friends and my family, they're at work. I can't reach anybody, and I'm like, is this real? Second time, had a great night at the Sugar Bar and decided to take myself home as opposed to hanging out and staying in the city. I was living in Long Island at the time. Got into bed, woke up, and I woke up and sat up in the bed and was watching the news and trying to figure out what's going on. And boom, the second plane hit. And I ran downstairs and I'm like, Mommy, Mommy, Mommy. My mother was still alive then. What? Because I didn't know what, you know. This is the same thing that happened. This is the third time. I wake up and like I said, I work at night. So my time clock on my body is different. Some of y'all have been at work and done a whole day by the time I, shuffle on the buffalo into the day. So we know that. But then my day goes longer than yours. I'm looking at CNN or whatever news show I was looking at. And this is like around 1 or 2 o'clock. This whole thing starts to happen, and I'm watching, and I'm going, hey, what's really happening? And then I was riveted to the TV for the rest of the day. I couldn't conduct any business because I couldn't wrap my mind around what I was watching it unfold.
Absolutely.
Are you serious? You're asking me how I feel. It has been between the election, between the 6th of January, and it's just been, and between New Year's Eve. These are the days that I was just trying to get to, and my body physically and my mind mentally just had to struggle to get past the election, to get to New Year's Eve, so that we could have January 1st. We just felt that would wash over us and make it not all go away, but certainly we would feel the freedom of leaving 2020 in the past, in the rearview mirror. And then we knew that the 6th was okay, y'all gonna play this whole thing out. Let's go ahead and do the count and so on and so forth. But to see that happen, now I'm just trying to figure out how to get to Wednesday. I'm trying to get to Wednesday.
Yeah.
How I felt about the 6th. I'm just trying to get to Wednesday.
And they're talking about so much civil unrest. The fact that now it's like, do does a person, I mean, and not even just a black person or a Latin person, but a white person, do you look at another white person and look at them to see if they are a part of this cult like mentality?
You don't know.
And,
You don't know. It's how you go through your day to day, how you greet people, how you meet people, walking down the street, doing anything. You don't know who you're dealing with, and it makes you feel a certain kind of way.
absolutely.
And I don't think we should have to live with that kind of pressure.
And I mean, it's like being on guard against being on guard against something that you don't know, because the bottom line is now every high it's what I find myself doing, to be honest with you. It's like when I see somebody now, I look at their clothing, I look at their car, I look at this.
Are they wearing a mask? Are they not? Why aren't you?
And what paraphernalia, you don't want to assume just because a person voted Republican that he believes in Trump, because there are some people that voted Republican because they just diehard Republicans. There are some people that are Trump supporters. Like when you look at people now, you're looking, are you him? Are you her? And then the thing is, where is your mindset in just like, but wait a minute, to storm the Capitol and to reach.
I have a friend who lives in a carry state. People, civilians, can carry weapons. Do you know what that's like to walk down the street and see somebody other than a police officer carrying a weapon, or walking down, coming out the store with a rifle, or a rifle on the back, in the back window?
Yeah.
And it's not to say, I'm not trying to put anybody in a category, but now we have to wonder.
Absolutely, because let me tell you something.
And what I noticed the most about what was going on, I looked at all of those people who were on the steps waving flags and trying to, they looked like they were doing a peaceful protest. It wasn't until afterwards that you saw the melee that was happening on the inside, because you couldn't see that at first. You just saw some people that got up there, and for some reason they were shooing them around. Look, our friend Murph, she said they were shooing them away like pigeons.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. And that's what it felt like. It was like geese on a lawn. Had it been us.
Oh, we would have been destroyed. We would have been dead.
Had it been us, it would have looked like a really bad game of paintball, and all of the paint would have been red, all on that building.
And let me tell you something. I tell people all the time, God forbid, or that if I would have been working at that situation, like that black officer, bless his heart, that he thought, and he was smart enough. But let me tell you something about the psychological aspect from a law enforcement standpoint, where officers, depending on the time of your job, you're taught not to shoot. They're taught if you pull up that gun, you better have a damn good reason to shoot. So that's why you don't see a lot of black officers or Latin officers shooting people in lieu of what a lot of white officers who feel like, this is my duty.
I felt threatened, and that was my duty, right? I felt threatened.
Exactly. So I say all that to say that, but let me tell you something. The way today's climate is, I'll say there would have been a lot of red tops hitting the ground, because there's no way in hell that I would have let you put that kind of pressure on me without understanding the pressure that I was going to put back on you. Because the bottom line is, to see these officers and see these clips where these guys are sitting in the office and the officers asking them nicely, can you guys leave, please? Please? Are you kidding me?
These people filed out of the Capitol like they had just gone to the movies. You know how you looked when the movie let out? I couldn't believe it. I was like, they should have been arresting people as they came out, one by one. Clip, boom, clip, boom, clip, boom. They had empty paddy wagons. And I'm just saying, they were like they had just come off a ride at Disney World. They just filed out. Every day, if you're paying attention and watching CNN or whatever your news platform is, you see more footage of just what the real deal was. What people were really setting it off in there. I could not believe it. I cannot believe that officers were put into the position where their tasers were taken from there. They were shouting all kinds of threatening. I just can't believe what they went through.
I know.
Can't believe it. I can. Woo!
I know.
I'm just, like I said, you asked me how I feel. Let me answer your question on Thursday, because I'm trying to get.
Well, you know what? I think maybe Malika and I, either we might do a special footage, and I might try to get you and Al on or somebody, and just have a after a inauguration, or maybe we might watch something, because I know everybody's going to be glued, and people are going to be glued to TV, not just to watch the inauguration, but because of such tension. God, we're watching to make sure nothing happens. It's almost like you want to see, God forbid, like, somebody tries to shoot this man, and then dude wants to go out. He wants a band and a red carpet to leave. My man,
On a 21 gun cannon salute.
My man, you've been impeached twice. Won't you just try to go out the back door the way Marilyn Monroe went out of there? You know what I'm saying?
You know what? It's, to me, I think it's another diversionary tactic. I think it's another distraction for some other crazy, which I don't want to think about, and I fear for President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. I just hope, well, because we're doing it virtually, that is the best way for everybody. But I hope nobody gets hurt. I hope nothing happens, and they can just kind of keep it here. And that is not only for Wednesday, but ongoing. But it's a fearful way to live. This is when you go to the store and buy all the toilet paper you can. This is when you go to the store and get the milk and the bread and the shelves are empty. For me, that's what I've been feeling like all week long. Like, I just need to shop so I can stay in the house and just try to be safe and hope that works. Because you don't know where it is. You don't know where the people that have this mindset, believe what you want, vote for who you want, but the mindset to cause trouble and to cause harm and to hurt and maim and kill, that's what I can't get with.
Yeah, it was just like I was watching the movie Purge.
Whatever you want, but you're not supposed to be able to beat people and mace people and try to cause harm. There was a person in some of the footage that's now out, and there's a guy, and he's like, speaking of the people, we were minding our own business. We were just living our lives. They made us like this. They made us this rageful person. Well, if that was the case, we were minding our business, just running our lives over on the continent, and y'all came and got us. The indigenous Native American Indians were just doing what they were doing on the plains of the United States, and y'all came and killed up all their people and stole their land, and when we shouldn't have the right to retaliate. You mean you took our country and now this is how we act? What I've told people? I was like, you really believe this?
Yeah, and you know what I've told Allie, what I've told people, that I've noticed that no matter who you are, everybody has developed a political mindset right now from what we've seen. Because
more than ever, people are more politically mindful, or at least paying more attention than ever before. And I'm one of those people, more than ever before. And that's obvious, and you can see it in the voting and how that happened. In the middle of the pandemic, more people came out than ever to stand in line to try to speak their voice, wherever that voice was. But if you can sit back and say, the reason that we are rioting and doing the things that we're doing and causing this kind of dissension is because y'all made us like this. Well, wow, what did they make us do? Yeah. Look what we went through.
And imagine, and the bottom line is, you really haven't made us do anything, because we definitely have never acted out like that.
Not
you
like
know what I'm saying?
But
but what I'm saying is that, you know how people think about, they try to equate, it stains me, and I use the word stain when I see people try to equate Black Lives Matter to this and say, well, that Antifa antagonized, infiltrated Black Lives Matter protests, because it usually at the night, that's when the anarchy started, but it wasn't during the day. but the people during the day were the ones that were getting the unjust treatment, getting maced in the face and pushed around because they were just yelling and having their freedom of speech. But these guys drag cops, kill cops too. And the bottom line is, most of the blue lives people that I know, law enforcement, they denounced it. Oh well, yeah, I don't like it. I don't condone it. But you're not outraged, like putting up multiple posts like you did about Black Lives Matter. And I know why. And I've said it all along. There wasn't inequality because a lot of times a lot of law enforcement have the same ideology as those buffoons that were on that in that Capitol. But the bottom line is, I tell people all the time, wear the sheets. The sheets. Let me tell you something. A lot of these people are generational clan. You know what I'm saying? Grandfathered. And now their ideology has transcended into the way they police today. And it's a sad state of things.
Mindset that's taught. You know what I'm saying? It's the mindset that's taught. So
yeah. So Alyson, this is what it is. This is the way we coming in on this new year. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Foster, with my co-host Alyson Williams. I hope you like what we put together tonight. We're going to get the doctor back. I promise you, I don't know when she's coming back, but we're going to get it back. And you know what? I want to get her husband back too. I don't know if I'll get them back together, because the bottom line is, there are different mindsets with this. There are people right now that still have abundance of questions, and I don't have the answers. I don't know how many medical people have the questions. I apologize for us not getting to all your questions, but we were only given an hour, and I wanted to respect my cousin's time. And the bottom line is, this is what it is. We're going to get her back. Maybe, like I said, I'm going to see if I can get her to answer some of your questions, going to the podcast chat and answer some of your questions. But this is Real Talk Chronicles. Like it, subscribe to it, TikTok it, like Alyson said, share it. Challenge that. This is the challenge we're going to do. I'm your Alyson. Before we get out of here, you got any nice words you want to give these people, or anything you want to say to them before we?
Yeah, I'm going to direct it at you, because when you say, it just dawned on me when you said that it was your birthday on the 6th, and I remember speaking with you, just getting the lowdown on what we were going to speak about tonight. And I was teasing you because just around the holidays, you were waiting for a package to be delivered. And we know since COVID in general, packages and mail have been so, backed up. The postal system has been hindered. And you took all of these videos, and you were outside looking like a poor little boy, looking for the mailman, like you was kicking the dirt. Where's the robots? I ordered sea monkeys. Where are they? And I felt so bad. So now coming into the new year and realizing you did get your package, but it was your birthday, and like you said, you don't want your birthday to be marred with that. I always say to people, if they check it out, and this is not a plug, but you can go if you want it. There's a song called Happy Holiday, and it's really a song about us all, like every day should be like a holiday. And I wrote that song on the night, election night of 2016. And I cried only to myself, and I try to boast to the world that if nothing else good happened on 2016 night, that song, Happy Holiday, was written. I was just inspired, and it came out. So, like I said, good things got to happen even when the bad things happen. So on your birthday and for your birthday, because I don't know how I missed it, happy birthday to you. Happy belated birthday to you. Oh. Happy belated birthday, my brother Bill. Real talk, baby. That's it. You. Yeah. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Listen, everybody, look, you got a doctor, you got a Hall of Fame artist in the building. Let me tell you something. Next time you see her, you're gonna have to pay for her, unless you come to Real Talk and you get to see her, because that's what it is right now.
Hey, listen, you can get your birthday sung. Just come on the Real Talk Chronicles. We'll hook you up. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna set it up. Alyson Williams can sing happy birthday to you and your baby, your god baby, and your baby daddy, all the way to the grandma. We'll sing a hymn. We'll get it.
That's right. Yeah, you might get a Real Talk happy birthday jingle from Alyson if you come in, but you got to share it like 19 times. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. That's Alyson Williams. I'm Bill Foster. That's Malika Foster in the background. Listen, be careful out there, everybody. Watch your back. We'll see you real soon, okay?
Be safe and do well. God bless.
All right, D. Bye-bye.